What's going on, everyone? So there's been a lot of talk about Utah and various players with them, Collin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, as well as obviously Walker Kessler. He's kind of been the big target, the big prize. But the Brooklyn Nets are a team that Sean Marks and Rob Pelinka have a good relationship, right? They were working on a even Kyrie deal before Joe Tsai was like, absolutely not trading him where he wants to go, trade him anywhere else. Rob Pelinka and Sean Marks had multiple meetings. They went to dinner together, right? They built a good rapport. So I do think Brooklyn is a team that may be interested. Right now, their asking price for everything is high, as you're supposed to, especially early on in the offseason and now early in the season. But as you get closer to the trade deadline, especially with all the rumors and talks about Giannis potentially going to the Nets and Jimmy Butler wanting to go to the Nets, and you just kind of hear all these conversations, they may need to kind of clear their books a little bit here. Obviously, they have guys like Ben Simmons and stuff like that who are falling off the books. But the Brooklyn Nets are a team that have several pieces that we could really need. And I've even talked about, even if we do a Utah trade for like a Walker Kessler, and let's say even a Collin Sexton, right? Even if you get those two, I would still hit up Utah or Brooklyn and see, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, right? What about Dennis Schroder, right? I know a lot of people really wanted like Cam Thomas, but he has been just like, dude, has been absolute money and lights out this season. I do not see a scenario where Brooklyn ends up trading him. He's probably the guy that they're going to keep long term. But Dennis Schroder in particular, we've talked a lot about Cam Johnson. We've talked a lot about Dorian Finney-Smith, and I'll touch on him here more towards the back end of this video. But I want to talk about Dennis Schroder in particular, right? It's one of those, like, you don't know what you got till it's gone type thing, right? Like, Dennis Schroder would be ideal. I liked the Gabe Vincent signing because he was a guy that before injuries, right, has been a problem. And this year he's just been awful. But before we knew all that information, Gabe Vincent was a guy that was looked at as just more consistent, right? His upside isn't as high as Dennis Schroder, right? Dennis Schroder on any given night, go get you 20, dish out 8 assists, right? And just dominate on both sides of the basketball, right? There's the running joke. He's German Dennis Schroder, right? Are we getting German Dennis Schroder tonight? Or are we getting like NBA Dennis Schroder tonight, right? It's a big thing. And then you had Gabe Vincent, who, yes, his upside isn't as big on a regular basis. Obviously, on any random night, maybe go give you, 20. But more often than not, like 9 out of every 10 games, if not, 10 out of every 10 games, he's going to give you around like 8 to 10 points, but he's more willing to come off the bench. He's a guy that consistently is going to give you that. Where Dennis Schroder, one night he gives you 20, next night he gives you like he's 1 of 11, gives you 2. Next night he gives you 15, next night he gives you 7. Where it's like every night you can almost punch in, Gabe Vincent's clock of what he's going to give you. And so it was kind of like you can justify that. You can kind of get away from that. Also, you don't need to play him as much as Dennis Schroder would want to be played because you have D'Lo, you have Austin Reeves. The idea made sense. It just hasn't worked out. And then you see Dennis Schroder right now with the Brooklyn Nets. And that dude is like otherworldly. You want to talk about like playing like Germany Dennis Schroder? He's playing like it right now. So Dennis Schroder so far in the season, now, keep this in mind. This is only through like 6-7 games. He's averaging 35 minutes. He's shooting 51.7% from the floor on 14.5 attempts per game. He is shooting 54% from 3. 54% from 3. Now, here's the thing. Last year, when he went to the Brooklyn Nets and you look, he actually shot 41.2% on 5.1 attempts. So whatever it is about Brooklyn, he is shooting excellent. But you look at Toronto, he shot 35%. And you look at the Lakers, he shot 33%. So everywhere else, and this is a guy that's only a career 34% three-point shooter. So literally everywhere else but Brooklyn, this guy is shooting terribly or inconsistently bad. But in Brooklyn, the dude is the best three-point shooter in the league by like a landslide. But it's not just that, right? Obviously, defensively, he's still giving you the same level of defensive intensity. He's shooting 50% total from 2-point range. He's shooting 87% from the foul line, which is like his second highest he's ever shot from the foul line. He's also chiming in, giving you just under 3 rebounds 8 assists, 1.2 steals, and he's averaging 22 points a game with only 2 turnovers. He is playing like an all-star. Like if Dennis Schroder played like that for the Lakers probably would have won a championship, right? We would have ran through the Denver Nuggets. But for whatever reason, comes the Lakers. That's a bit of a concern, right? Because it's like, do you take the chance on Dennis Schroder? Obviously, I don't think anyone expects him to continue to shoot 54% from three-point range, but can he still give you the efficiency? He also, you got to keep in mind, is like the guy. Him and Cam Thomas right now are like the 2 guys for Brooklyn. They're allowed to just play and do whatever they want. It's not going to happen with the Lakers, right? So it's something we have to keep in mind. I don't mind the idea of bringing back Dennis Schroder. I've always liked Dennis Schroder. I was disappointed when he left, but I got the idea. It was like, okay, he left. We really could use that kind of point of attack guard. Gabe Vincent kind of gives you not the foot speed, not the athleticism, but gives you kind of that relentlessness. Both are similar size, right? Like I think Gabe Vincent has a little more weight behind him, but I understood the idea. To me, would Brooklyn even trade Dennis Schroder at this point? They might want to keep him, especially if they think Giannis is coming at some point, right? So it's like, man, we could have Dennis Schroder, Giannis, things like that. Could that be something that they kind of look to keep? But let's go under the assumption that they would be willing to trade him. I don't hate the idea of going, because you're not going to get a Claxton. They're not going to trade Claxton, especially if they're planning on getting a guy like Giannis. Then they're probably going to end up having to trade Claxton for him, or if they can, try to keep him. But my guess would be, could you get like a Dennis Schroder, Cam Johnson, and like a Dayron Sharpe, right? So now you solve your point of attack defensive guard, right? And Dennis Schroder, you could even start Dennis Schroder, especially if he continues to play the way he's been playing, right? And I'd imagine J.J. Redick would be able to kind of continue to have him play the way he's been playing. So you get that. Then you get your 3-and-D guy in Cam Johnson. I don't even hate the idea of Dorian Finney-Smith, but Cam Johnson ideally, if you can't, and let's say it's cheaper, just get Dorian Finney-Smith, then fine, get Dorian Finney-Smith, and then get like a Dayron Sharpe. I'm not like super high on Dayron Sharpe, but I don't hate the idea. Like if it's a package, right? If you're just Dayron Sharpe by himself, I'm not like super sold on that. But if like he's kind of like, it's like you're getting him with Schroder, with a Cam Johnson or a Dorian Finney-Smith. Now I'm like, okay, cool, let's do that. So now you basically have your backup big, you got your 3-and-D wing, and then you got your point of attack. Hopefully he can maintain, again, not 54%, but can he shoot 38% from 3? Right? Like if he could do that, that'd be great. If he could shoot 38%, now you got your point of attack, you got your defensive guard, and he's giving you 38%. You literally got a 3-and-D guard who can apply rim pressure, make plays. Right? If Schroeder can go from like 22-8, let's say, with Brooklyn to like 15-6, right, while maintaining the efficiency, like that's the key, the efficiency, man, could you imagine that with the defense that he would provide? And then add in like a Cam Johnson and his 3-and-D ability with Austin Reeves, LeBron, and AD. Sounds like a pretty good starting vibe to me, especially the way Dennis Schroder is playing right now. But it's just kind of a thought that I was just like, Brooklyn, I've talked a lot about the Nets. Right? Obviously, Cam Johnson was like a big name mentioned regularly. My problem with Cam Johnson is like the most games he's ever played in a season is like 66 games. Like the most he's ever played in a season. It's not great, right? Like that's, if he's playing that every year, like that's fine, but that's the most he's ever played, right? So, can you justify him? Especially not for a first. Or like if you're getting all 3 for a first and you still get to keep a first, then sure. But like Dennis Schroder, as great as he's playing right now, right? Like this is more of an outlier season than it is a regular. Like he's not proven at this level. And it's just, it's like we've seen guys have hot nights. Like you're not giving up a first for Dennis Schroder. And then, Dayron Sharpe's definitely not worth a first. And Cam Johnson, I don't believe he's worth a first just because of the injury history, right? You're taking a gamble on him. So, and it's kind of like, hey, you're clearing some cap space. So you can kind of build around, because we're giving you guys like D'Lo and stuff like that, kind of clear some books, throw in like a Jalen Trufino, boom, get you a couple pieces. I don't know. I don't hate it. Like if I still like Utah. Go get Kessler and like Sexton, and then go get like a Cam Johnson or something like that independently. But I don't hate, like, if that falls through, kind of pivoting and going to a team like the Brooklyn Nets and just being like, hey, can we get a Schroder? You got to get the wing, right? Like, if it's like Schroder and Dayron Sharpe, I personally, I'd rather leave it. But if you can get that Dorian Finney-Smith or a Cam Thomas, because my thing is just if you can get everything done at once, right? Like, boom. And then, like, you know, you can still make little minor moves, but it's kind of like, okay, we got our 3-and-D wing, we solved our point guard position, and a guy that can be the initiator, and our point of attack defense, so we're better defensively, we're probably just as good offensively, right? We're still in good shape, right? I would just prefer that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of, like, yeah, go to Brooklyn, right? Go see how that works out? Do you think, nah, like, stay away, Schroder, he's not going to be able to maintain that. It's the concern is, like, we've seen that story. Guy plays great where he's at, goes to Lakers, and is not the same. And he did it with LA, and he did it with Toronto. It's just he's, for whatever reason, in Brooklyn, he's been thriving in Brooklyn. You know, which credit him, right? Good for him. But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.